Good morning. It's Brian. It's the Art of Startup War. We are back for another phenomenal episode where you get to see great startups, and not startups that we're promoting, not startups that we're saying, oh, we think these folks will be good. Startups that we have invested in. So why is that valuable to you? Because if we have put our hard-earned cash into these companies, it is because we believe in them on an immense level. We believe that they're going to be able to break through and build true unicorns. And the company that you're going to be introduced to today is absolutely no different. Great company. Byte are doing absolutely phenomenal things. Khalid is going to talk all about it. Now, here's the way this works, right? So we go through the hero's journey. So we start here, which is where you begin. And it's right at the beginning, and it's tough, and it's hard, and it's difficult. And you're going to be like super direct and honest with folks as to like what it was like at that beginning part. And we're going to end right here, which is in this beautiful place that you're in right now, where you got your product fit, you got your customers, you know what's happening with the team, you got your plan for the future. But between here and here, there's a hell of a lot of stuff that's happened. So we're going to talk through it all, okay? So Khalid, welcome to the show, buddy.
Okay. Thank you for having me here, Brian. When connecting with you all. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. And but just so you know, the vast majority of folks who will be listening to this are investors. And they are folks who are looking for investment opportunities. So they're sitting here while they're running, walking, cycling, doing all kinds of stuff. And they're thinking to themselves, could this be the one? So we're going to see if we can help them work that out, okay? So can you take us back to the very beginning? Take us back to when you started and talk about the genesis of the idea for Byte. Like, who was in the room? What was discussed? What was it that made everybody so sure in that moment that this was going to be the idea that was going to steal your heartbeats for the next 5 or 10 years?
Perfect. Amazing. So, I'll say Byte didn't start as a typical startup, right? Where, you start with a problem and, we all know the drill, right? So Byte started on a personal note, okay? It started from me having an idea that I wanted to execute back in 2018, but I didn't know how to code. Right. You see, back in 2018, I just got into college and, I just turned 18 back then, and my mom sent money to my new bank account I just opened. However, I was not able to receive this money due to, complication with the traditional payment system, like, the NIPS that Nigeria uses here. So I thought to myself that what if there is an other alternative you can receive payment without it having to go through, the traditional process. But back then, I don't know anything. I just felt like, okay, maybe as we move forward in the future, it can be solved or something. But unfortunately, or fortunately, should I say, I dropped out of college to pursue my career in engineering. So I went to a boot camp, started my career in engineering around 2019 also, right? And the idea for Byte fully came in 2020 when similar stuff happened. So I just thought, okay, maybe I can just build something really simple that I can test with my friends, where we're able to send money via social media without involving the banks or involving any of the third parties that are involved. So we started off. I just started it one night like that and started coding, right? And within the next day, I already have a social media bot up and running. We started from there, and that was how that started. That was the beginning of what will be called Byte. So moving forward in 2020, we incorporated, we moved the platform to web, whereas we got some little adoption from consumers. And later on that year, in 2021 or early 2021, we moved to mobile platform. So this is where it gets really interesting because as at that point we
Hey,
started seeing.
Khalid, can I stop you for a second? Let me just bring you back for a moment, okay? Because that
Okay.
was a lot. Like you found the problem, you explored the problem, you wanted to build up an awareness for yourself on how to fix the problem. You researched it. How did your
Yeah.
team align with what you were doing here? So, as you were working this out, how much of this was you and how much of this was we? And if a lot of it was we, what did that we look like as you built it?
When it started, it just started as a one-man team. So I do almost everything, right? So I actually took that opportunity because I feel like it's an avenue for me to learn and improve myself. At the same time, build really cool stuff, right? So it all started with me. I'm an engineer, so I explore different kind of things to build that, market that, and everything in between back then. So yeah, it started with me. Then I think in 2021, that is when it fully, I started assembling a team to build, the entire product back then.
Okay. And then how did you find
So
that team and who did you bring in from that team?
yeah, first I tried to convince my colleague where I worked back then to join me. So in that 2021. So unfortunately he didn't join. He recommended an engineer to join me, which is still working with us now. He's now the head of engineering, right? So he started working with us on a part-time basis. And moving forward, I met my co-founder at an event. Yeah, so we went to a fintech event and we met from there. We connected from there. He has a lot of, great potential and experience in the credit and marketing industry. So he came in that he believed that we can really do something huge with Byte, right? He came in and, that's where it started from.
I like
Yeah,
that
that's where we
word.
started from.
I like the word huge. What was that huge thing? And I think now this is a good time for us to explain what it is that Byte does. So what was the huge that he saw and how much of that huge have you managed to develop?
Yeah, so what he really saw that it was huge is, the potential that Byte has to become something really amazing in the fintech industry in Nigeria here.
Mhm.
So, we started off as a payment company providing payment services to consumers. And, with him coming in, he saw an opportunity that, okay, why don't we diversify and, since, our solution can be used by businesses, right? We can have the consumer end and also the business end, which means, we are able to provide services to those businesses. So that is how it's interconnected to what we are doing today. And, essentially what Byte is doing today is, we are building one of the biggest business management platforms in Nigeria, which means we're able to help businesses manage their day-to-day operation efficiently, accept payments however their customer wants to pay them, and easily access credit without complication. Right. So I think that is the starting point for us from where we really see a huge potential by expanding our focus to the business side of things.
A- and talk to me, Khalid, how you developed that product. So as you started to build it out, especially with your co-founder, because it seems that as you and your co-founder came together, it took everything to an absolute new level. I mean, previous to that, you knew there were huge issues and you knew that you had the ability to fix some of those issues. But it seems like the real unicorn appeared when you both got together and the yin and yang allowed you to be able to build out this great new model. Talk to me about as you started to build it, the reaction that you started to get from some of the customers and how the scaling began.
Yeah, so when we started providing these services, right, we got a lot of feedback, So one of the things we got is, from customers is, oh, we need this kind of features on the platform so that they are able to like carry out some of these services without those complications they have before. So we go back to the drawing board, right? My co-founder did a lot of sales. So he go out, we speak with customers, we get feedback. So, on a daily basis, we actually stay together for a bit because we really believe that in what we are doing back then, that we really want to build something different. So every morning we take our coffee, we go out, to the market, we go out to the field, onboard those businesses and see the challenges they are facing and how we can better improve our product to better solve those problems for them. So, we got a lot of great feedback. At the same time, some crappy one, which, we weighed and see how this can be applied on a business level to impact those businesses. So, that's how, we are able to like, iterate on our product, iterate on our product, iterate to reach where we are today.
And how many people are in the team now?
Yeah, we are currently about 10 people in the team, right?
Nice. Isn't that nice? As you grew and you built it up and more people came in. And how is that team broken down between engineers and sales?
So I would say engineers are more. So we have about I think about 5 engineers currently. We have about 3 sales and two others are in operation and design. So we broke it down in a way that we're able to like really be efficient in terms of pushing products and also selling to the market. So it's that simple for us at the moment.
And tell me, Khalid, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced as you were entering that time prior to really getting the revenue and while you were in a place of still build and not sure where you were going? And if you think about some of the really tremendous challenges, because investors are never looking for a clean, easy ride, it doesn't exist. There is always a calamitous problem that threatens to take the train off the tracks. The real measure of an entrepreneur is how they adapt to those trains about to come off the tracks and how they can actually get it back on in the future. So, talk to me about some of the most challenging situations that you had from when you started it to when you started to realize the company actually had a phenomenal product fit.
Yeah, I think one of our biggest challenge. Okay, starting off, um, back then, I thought our challenge is money. But coming to realize that now, that's not actually, the issue right there. Right there is how do I assemble the right team to take this product from point A to point B.
Well done.
So, starting then, it was really hard for me to navigate, coming from my background as an engineer and, but I was fortunate enough to have the right people, like my co-founder, come in to help with most of these things, and we're able to learn from each other and see how we can assemble the right A team that could execute this job perfectly. And I would say my team is second to none at the moment. We shape, efficiently. We also try to like really market in a way that I'll say it has never been done before. Yeah.
Incredible. And I couldn't agree with you more. Look, if you have the right team, actually, unless you have the right team, it's impossible to build a unicorn. I don't care what the execution of the founder is like. I don't care what the product is like. I don't care what the revenue is like. I don't even care what the timing's like. If you don't have the right team, you literally cannot build because the foundation will always crash underneath it. And so, did you have any difficult team building times that you had to go through? Folks who were the wrong hires, folks who didn't do what you needed them to do, are just areas which were terrifying as you were building?
Yes. So, the most terrifying part is hiring the wrong people, which I admit I did in the first instance, right? So I do hire some people, and before a couple of weeks, they already quit. they are not executing their job well and everything in between. So, I just had to take a step back and look at how can we do things differently. We figured that, we don't just hire directly, like, just for hiring sake. Now we have to look at what value this employee is bringing to the company and how can we also impact this employee back. So that way we're able to like create relationship with people before we even hire them. So we already know the kind of, what type of an executor they are and how they can better take this company from this point to the other point. And that has been really, successful for us in terms of areas, we hired currently.
Very good. I would tell you, I hired bad people 30 years ago. I hired bad people 20 years ago. I hired bad people 10 years ago, and I hired bad people last year. But you know what I got real good at? Making sure that those bad people do not stay in the organization for long, or making sure that they're exited out so they can upskill, reskill, and come back in again in the future when they're right for the tasks that need to be done. And that's so important because we don't have, as startups, the luxury of letting folks to stay with us for long. So they're great lessons to learn, especially early on. Okay, so look, we know now that from listening, great execution, even though this wasn't something which was an obvious and easy choice, you found a great co-founder that could go in with you that would give you the ability to do it. Great product filling a really big need that's in the community right now. Great development skills to be able to build out the team and create the right team to make sure that you had the support as you're building through. Talk us through the traction now and what that traction looks like from when you started to how you're building it to how you expect that to go in the future.
Yeah, so when we started in 2020, offering consumer-based platforms. So in 2020, we just saw like a really short amount of growth. I think we got a couple of hundred signups back then, and should I say we did $15,000 in monthly transactions in total of 2020. So the following year, we were able to like times three of what we did last year, right? And in 2022, when we now go hand fully on in our business focused products, we were able to like process over $1.2 million in transaction volume. That is
Wow.
about 3,000% of what we actually did back in 2020 and 2021.
Hmm.
And this year we are
Well,
now able
hang
to
on.
do 10.
Before we go to this year, how did you do that?
Yeah.
And talk about transactions and how transactions actually leads into direct net revenue for you. But what specifically did you do year on year, 2021, 22, to actually continually build the revenue? Because this is where investors' rubber will meet the road. They will care about what specifically does the company do to actually get the revenue to that level, and how repeatable and how scalable is that going forward, and also how much of that is going in their pockets. So share a little bit more on that, just dig a little bit deeper in.
Yeah, so I think one of the things we did to grow, on an yearly basis is being able to measure the right data and see, where our customers are coming from and how can we optimize those channels to make, the customer acquisition more faster and smoother, right? So we're able to do that by, leveraging some things like events and communities to drive adoption. So that has been really something that has been good for us in areas of, generating these tractions. So in 2022, we did something different. So we added, after identifying those opportunities, we added some business features, and we are able to like, some customer segment that we are unable to capture before that are doing more transactions, we are able to capture them with these new features. So we're able to like, with that, we're able to like grow our revenue, we're able to grow our transaction volume, and we actually charge 1% per transaction from payment received, and we're able to build this revenue to $25,000 in year by end of 2022, which has been something that we've never done before.
Fantastic.
Right. And this year so I'll say last year is kind of like a product discovery, pro market fit for us. And this year we are more focused on growth because we want to achieve 200% of whatever we are doing, right? So this year
where
we
do
are
you
seeing
believe
ourselves doing.
where do you believe the transactional revenue and the net revenue will be in 2023?
Yeah, so we believe that we should be racking up around 11 million in transaction volume and about $250,000 in revenue. So this coming from the new. So recently the CBN introduced a new guideline of cashless policy, and we've seen our transaction volume skyrocketed from last month to this month. So last month we did what we would have done in 3 months of 2022 in 1 month. So now it's just for us to okay, how can we focus to get more of those businesses onboarded so they can, improve their transaction volume and also improve their digital footprints by leveraging on Byte infrastructure. So that is our focus this year, focusing on those growth areas by leveraging all the community approaches for us to onboard those businesses.
Fantastic. And I want to in a few minutes, I want to get to what the huge vision looks like for the future. And I want to paint a picture of you in 10 years' time. And you're speaking about what you achieved. So you have to speak about everything in the past tense, right? You got to talk about what size the company became. You've got to talk about what countries or continents that the company is in. You've got to talk about what products are being most used. You've got to talk about, you don't have to talk about the revenue, but maybe we insinuate what the revenue could look like at that stage or what the valuation could have looked like at that stage. Remember, you're 10 years in the future and you're looking back. But before we get there, can we just talk a little bit about the competitive challenges and the worry stroke not worry of anybody else coming into the space and actually doing what you do?
Yeah, the payment sector in Nigeria is highly competitive. We have companies that already exist in the market, like MoneyPoint, Keeper, and Pastel, all those type of companies. However, for Byte, our value-added services already stand us out, which means, for businesses now, they are able to leverage their business data to build their credit score. They can get, credit or access to credit within a limited time without having to go through those complications that they go through at the moment, right? And, we provide those business tools those businesses need to manage their day-to-day, record their sales and everything they need to do on a daily basis, which other competitors like MoneyPoint or Pastels doesn't provide at the moment. So for us, we are looking at leveraging on these core points to build our loyal customer base. So we are not just advertising as a payment services. However, we are advertising as the platform that you need to grow your business, the platform you need to 10x what you are currently doing on your business, the platform that is there to support you in every aspect, of the business that you start, right? So that is for Byte, right? The competitive landscape is quite, competitive in those areas. However, we've been able to differentiate ourselves in those unique areas.
I love it. Okay, good. And then so finish us up with, and I think it might even be tied into how you beat your competitors and what you become. This is it. This is your final. Actually, before you give your final statement, can you share your email address with everybody so people can contact you? And of course, investors who are listening, you can always contact me at brian@expertdojo.com. Always remember, I'm not giving you advice on what to invest in, but I am saying to you, we invested in this company because we believe this company is excellent and that their potential is fantastic. So we, along with all other diligence and areas that you will check yourself, are worth listening to you. So you get our opinion as well. Okay, Khalid, your email address, and then I would like you to speak to that back-facing comment 10 years in the future, talking about what you achieved as compared to your competitors, talking about what you achieved as compared to execution in the regions themselves, and of course, compared to size of company, which is what all investors want to hear because that's what they're looking to invest in.
Okay. Yeah, so for investors out there, my email is k@joinbyte.co, JIONBYTE.co. So you can reach me at any time and we'll take anything from there. Thank you. So yeah, 10 years time, Byte is already the leading financial service company in Africa, not just Nigeria, right? Because we believe we want to have footprints in one of the major African countries like Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, and all those other areas. And we are not just the leading, we are also leading in terms of transaction volume by businesses that happens on every month. We are the company that supported the African ecosystem from transitioning from the cash economy to the cashless economy, right? So we are part of those success story of every business out there that is trying to do business, and we are the best out there. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you, my friend. That is a wrap. Investors, you got what you came for. Another fantastic company, expanding massively. You see the growth, the 25K to the 250K. I would bet my bottom dollar that 250K will grow up to 1.5 million the following year. And the company will continue to grow and expand because the market is absolutely massive. Khalid, I appreciate you jumping on what is a Friday evening for you. Enjoy your weekend. Everybody who's listening, you can reach out to Khalid. You can reach out to myself. We're always happy to hear from you. And keep on investing and loving startups. Okay. Thank you, my friend. That's a wrap.